Welcome back to the channel. This is Gillis TV here, and before we get started, I just want to thank all of you for the live stream yesterday. That was huge. Thank you for all of this support. As today we're going to get into one of the topics we discussed on that live stream was ranking the Canadian teams this offseason and how they fared. We did touch base on that a little bit, on the live stream. But let's get a little bit more in depth with it as there's 7 Canadian teams. Let's start at number 7. Sorry, Jets fans, but out of all the Canadian teams, the Jets have had the worst offseason out of all 7 teams. You did bring back Mason Appleton, which he's a decent third, fourth line player, can kill the penalty, great and all, but you still have problems with Pierre-Luc Dubois. Sounds like Wheeler wants out, Stastny wants out. These guys, Winnipeg's in scrambles right now, and those two guys last there, Stastny and Wheeler, have been rumored for quite some time now that they don't want to play in Winnipeg anymore. They want a chance to win, and ultimately Winnipeg doesn't really stand a chance when it comes to the Western Conference. As of right now, maybe a few years down the road when they get a couple of their rookies back, sure, you can say they have a shot, but at number 7, it is the Winnipeg Jets. Now at number 6, it is the Vancouver Canucks, as yes, they did go out and get Mikheyev, which is a great signing. They did sign that Russian superstar in Kamenko, but there's a lot surrounding this Calgary Flames team, not Calgary Flames, the Vancouver Canucks team on what is JT Miller going to do? What can the Canucks do for JT Miller? And that's going to be on a lot of people's minds, especially JT Miller's, when it comes to this next season where, they don't know what's going on. Is there going to be a Connor Garland trade to make room for JT Miller? Is there going to be a JT Miller trade itself? We don't know, sorry about the sound effects there, as we don't know if JT Miller's going to get traded. We know nothing at this point, but Vancouver needs to figure it out right now. Now, at number 5, a lot of people are going to hate me for this, but they didn't really improve the Toronto Maple Leafs. They lost Mikheyev. They let Jack Campbell walk. They went out and got 2 goaltenders who last year didn't do anything in Matt Murray and Samsonov. There were reasons why Samsonov did not get qualified by the Washington Capitals. So the big question in Toronto right now, can these 2 goalies get it? Yes, you got them on amazing deals. Don't get me wrong. Toronto got them on cheap deals, but at the same time, are they really going to improve? Matt Murray has not been the Matt Murray he was in Pittsburgh. Samsonov isn't the goalie he was when he came into the league a few years ago. You got Toronto downgraded in net, and I'm surprised I even have them at 5, but that is really the only piece. Besides, you got to try and find room to sign Sandin. There's a couple more RFAs you got to try and find room for. So, right there and then, you have to hope the goaltenders are doing well, because you got to sign these other guys. And if the goaltenders don't do well, you better hope your offense is good enough to score 5 goals a game, because Samsonov last year wasn't great. Matt Murray hasn't been Matt Murray for a few years now. He was even in the AHL last year, which is tough to say, but I would have spent the money on trying to get someone else than those 2 guys, as you see Warren Fogle score there. Now, that's just my perspective on Toronto. You got 2 unproven goalies the last few years as your 1-2 punch, your 1A, and trust me, as an Oilers fan, we just went through that stuff with Mike Smith and Koskinen for 3 years. It doesn't work out, especially if one gets injured and the other one can't live up to what the Maple Leafs need. That's just the reality of things. Now, can these goalies prove me wrong? Totally. These goalies can prove anyone wrong. But as of right now, where we stand, that's the big question mark hanging in Toronto, besides them having to re-sign a couple RFAs. Now, at number 4, the Montreal Canadiens. This team, between 4, 5, and 6, it could have been a toss-up, but I put Montreal 4th because they traded Romanoff, not Romano, that's Blue Jays. Romanoff, got a pick, traded that pick for Kirby Dach. Kirby Dach's an excellent player. He's actually from my hometown. I watched him growing up. Kirby Dach's a fantastic player. Then they went and said, hey, for future considerations, we'll take that contract to Sean Monahan, give us a first-round pick, bolster our picks again, and there you go. We got Monahan, who Monahan's apparently 100% now after his interview the other day about how happy he is to be joining the Montreal Canadiens, and he actually practices with a few of them during the off-season, so that's huge for Montreal. The one question now is, hanging over their heads is Carey Price, right? Carey Price could have played his last game last year when he waved at his family. That last game he played could have been it. We don't know. They do have Jake Allen, which I would prefer Jake Allen over Matt Murray and Samsonov. Just the goalie aspect, not with the team in front of them. But Montreal did downgrade a bit on defense, but they got better offensively, and with a healthy Sean Monahan, that team can do a lot. Now at number 3, the Calgary Flames. Now you guys might be going, well, what about Edmonton? They hardly did anything. What about Ottawa? Why are you picking on the Flames? Being number 3 out of the 7 is pretty good still. The problem I have is they turned a pretty crappy situation, sorry for the word, I was going to use a different one, but they turned the situation they had where their their younger star players said, hey, I want out, I'm done here. And Gaudreau left free agency. Kachuk's like, I'm not playing here. You traded Kachuk. They turned that situation into a good situation, getting Mackenzie Weegar, Jonathan Huberdeau, a pick, a prospect, and getting Nazem Kadri. But you did lose Sean Monahan, who could be 100% healthy this year. You lost Johnny Gaudreau, and you lost Matthew Kachuk. I'm sorry, but when you trade a guy, you try and get younger. When you lose a guy, you try to get younger. You don't go out and sign the next best free agent apparently out there for 7 years, $7 million. They can prove me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Huberdeau's a fantastic player. Weegar's a fantastic player. But Huberdeau, Weegar, and Kachuk are not going to fill the points left, like the offensive numbers left by Kachuk, Gaudreau, and Monahan. It's just not going to happen. So did they get worse in a sense? Yeah, in a sense they did get worse by getting older, as I would have stayed clear of Nazem Kadri for 7 years, but that deal might actually come and bite Calgary in the you-know-where. But as of right now, yes, it's a good signing. The same with Huberdeau. How's Huberdeau going to be in year 5 of his contract? That is a question mark for Calgary. You got a solid defense, like all-around defenseman, Mackenzie Weegar, who is great, but you need a bounce. You need a goaltender that can give you a full 60 and only 50 minutes a game, as we saw in the Edmonton series. Now, I also have to point out is I haven't seen anything on Chris Tanev. In that Edmonton-Calgary playoff series, Tanev came back, but you could tell on every play that his shoulder was not 100%. He was holding it. He was getting outbeaten by smaller guys, like in front of the net. That's a question mark too. So yes, you did go get Weegar, which is a really good signing, or trade, sorry. They haven't signed him quite yet. If they're gonna, I'm not too sure. But what's the status of Chris Tanev in a sense as well, that if Chris Tanov's not 100%, that could be trouble for that Calgary defense, which I hope not. Like I said, I try and be as 100% unbiased as possible when I do these. Now we go to number 2. It's actually going to be the Edmonton Oilers. I did have them number 1 on the stream, but I did think about it. The Edmonton Oilers are number 2 on my list of Canadian teams off season. Reason why they are number 2, and a lot of people might say, well, if they didn't do anything, they should be number 5. Technically, they did. They got Brett Kulak back, who arguably was their best defender after being traded to Edmonton, on a really team-friendly deal for the next 4 years. He's a perfect defensive defenseman that can pass the puck. Now, they went out and got Evander Kane as of right now, depending on what the hearings and go for Evander Kane are. They got Evander Kane for just over $5 million a year. I'm sorry, Evander Kane, if he played a full season last year with the Edmonton Oilers, was on pace for 40-some goals. You're getting a guy that could put up 40-some goals with Connor McDavid for $5 million that plays the physical game that he does. That is a steal in my books, considering you see a lot of the contracts that were signed for the exact same type of production a lot higher. Now, they did go and improve their goaltending as well, getting Jack Campbell with Mike Smith more than likely going on the LTIR, and Koskinen finally gone. Thank riddance about that. Maybe someone with a glove can actually save a beach ball now, but that's besides the point. As they got Jack Campbell, I'm not saying he's the best goalie out there, no. Vasilevsky has that. Carey Price is up there. You know, a lot of goaltenders are up there. But Edmonton finally gets that goalie that can play 60 games, put in the work to actually save a puck, have a good goals against and save percentage, which is what Edmonton's been kind of lacking in the last few years. Yeah, Mike Smith was up and down like a roller coaster, and Mikko Koskinen started at the peak of the mountain, and by the time his contract ended, he was at the bottom. That's pretty much how it went. So at number 2, it is the Edmonton Oilers, as there's still some off-season left to go. Do they go out and get Patty Kane? Who knows at this point. But then number 1, the Ottawa Senators. The Ottawa Senators surprised everyone with the signing of Claude Giroux. That was huge. And then trading for Alex DeBrincat, who is a 40-plus goal scorer in the NHL, to help out an already young offensive team in Ottawa. This could be huge for the Senators. They also got rid of Matt Murray for Cam Talbot, which, again, same like the Oilers. Talbot's not the high-end, top-caliber goalie, but he's a really good goalie, and he could help this Ottawa team move up from the bottom, as the only question mark in their whole thing is their defense. They didn't upgrade their defense. There was rumors John Klingberg was supposed to go there, but whatnot. But if this defense for the Ottawa Senators can be solid, they can literally do a lot of damage in the Eastern Conference. And of course, this is only going by how good teams' off seasons have been. This isn't saying Ottawa is going to be the best Canadian team. No, I already think Edmonton and Calgary are up there, and Toronto's a question mark depending on their goaltender situation, like we said previously in the video. But that's pretty much where we're going to end it. That's my rankings. It goes Jets, Canucks, Toronto, Montreal, Calgary, Edmonton, Ottawa, for how good this offseason has been for those Canadian teams. And, you know, the Jets might make a splash here coming up, but who knows. But I'll catch you guys later, as I have to go to work here pretty soon. I will have a game review here of the Barcelona game. Lewandowski has scored his first La Liga goal in the game on his birthday, as that game right now is tied 1-1 in the 60th some minute. But I'll get to that after. I hope you guys have a good one. Stay safe out there. I'll catch you on the next one.